This true-to-life story will either make you feel angry or heartbroken, or quite likely both at the same time. Because it tells the story of the young girl who became a grandmother at just 17 years old. 17, not 70. How could a teenager have a grandchild? And who could possibly be responsible for all of this? For all the answers, I bring you the extreme story of the world's youngest grandmother, Mam Z. First, let me take you to where it all happened, in the city of Calabar in Nigeria. But in the 1880s, this place was called Akwa Akpa, a place that used to be very busy as an international seaport. But it wasn't just a seaport for simple goods, because the island became a major port in the transportation of African slaves. And some of these slaves belonged to the island chief, Chief Akiri. And in Chief Akiri's home, he had a special place, a harem, only for women, specifically his many wives and slaves, from adults to teenagers, and even to children. But there was one who was his favorite. Of all the women there was one girl, not a woman, who always caught his attention. And by now you unfortunately know her already. It was 7-year-old Mam Z. One night, Mam Z played with the other girls in the harem when they were surprised by the loud slam of the door. That night, Chief Akiri entered the room and shouted at her to come with him. This very night became the most horrible moment in poor Mam Z's life. All she knew was that she was feeling an unbearable pain. Unfortunately, and I am so mad to say this, 7-year-old Mam Z got pregnant by the very leader of their island, a ruler applauded by his followers. But for what? The poor girl didn't even know what she was going through. What was going on with her body? According to testimonies, she was asking other women what was happening to her tummy and why it hurt. Months after wondering what was inside her belly, she went through another, most painful thing in her life. Giving birth when she was only 8 years and 4 months old. How could her body have handled this, when most women of the right age already suffer giving birth? What more for this innocent 8-year-old child? To everyone's surprise, the baby survived, but what could an 8-year-old know about becoming a mother? Mam Z should be studying, playing with other kids, living her childhood. Instead, she had to raise her daughter, and the filthy man who ruined her life, who took her childhood, he remained free, living in luxury, being praised by his people, all while doing the same horrible thing to other girls and women. And I wish this was the end of the story, but we're not yet done with it. Because 8 years later, her daughter would experience the same cruel thing from the same cruel person, her own father. Just how far some humans can go in inflicting pain on others. It's just so saddening, Night Fam. Just like with Mam Z, one night he claimed her daughter. It's bad enough that Mam Z wouldn't even forget what the chief did to her and all her suffering, being forced to become a mother at only 8. It's even worse that she had to go through this again, this time with her own daughter. And so history repeats itself. When Mam Z was just 17 years old, her 7-year-old daughter got pregnant. She went through the same things her mother went through. At least this time she had someone to explain to her exactly what she was going through. Her own mother to help her until she gave birth. She was 8 years and 8 months old, making Mamsie the world's youngest grandmother at just the age of 17. And guys, I truly wish this was some fictional story, but just because I am animated and this story is animated, it is based on real life events. And I know many of you are surprised how something like this could be possible. You think that this may even be one of the most shocking stories in the world. But to the people in this story, this wasn't surprising at all. Because during those days, no matter how cruel those practices were, it was accepted. And the reason why we're still covering historical events like this now is because in some ways this is still happening in today's world. You'd be surprised to know how many back-minded traditions are still followed by hundreds of millions of people around the world. Most often traditions that make women into subhumans. And I'm just so tired of opening my DMs and reading stories of girls and women being abused. Abused as part of some ridiculous rituals, like the tradition of having child brides. In Nigeria alone, where Mamsie came from, it is expected that they will have 29 million child brides by the year 2050. And in many other countries and on many other continents, children have to learn how to live with pain. Let us not allow that to happen. Let us not tolerate this. This, once and for all, needs to stop. Every child should be able to have and experience the childhood they deserve, the education, the good things in life. The fight against abuse is a fight that we must undertake together to create a better world for ourselves and for future generations. Let us all stand together to fight the evil people hurting our children, women, and men, because no one deserves the cruelty poor Mamsie and her daughter went through.